Okay, here we go. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here with us today. My name is Cristina Didero. I'm an independent design curator and author. And I'm very happy today to be in this talk with Federica Biasi, Sara Ricciardi, Federico Peri. Welcome, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we have the usual. Can you hear me? Yes, so we are all set. All very excited to be with you, and thanks a lot to Cinque Vie for arranging this talk, and the Istituto Italiano di Cultura in Hong Kong, to Stefano Fossati for putting everybody together, and Mr. Rodas for being in charge of this project. What we do today, it's a meeting. So we are talking to these three talented. I don't know if I want to use young, because when you say young designers, somebody gets a little bit. Okay, so let's say we are meeting these three designers, not so old though, and it's going to be like a very informal conversation about how they experience their own job, how they got to be professional in their own job, and we will discover something maybe more intimate about that, which is very much about how I carry on, my interviews or my shows. So it's really about people and not about chairs. Federica Biasi, hi. I really would love that you yourself introduce yourself instead of me saying where you were born and how many things you've done and how many effort you did to arrive to what you have achieved. So let us hear about your story.
Oh, in 5 minutes or less. Okay.
Whatever, you can take your time. I think.
I born just near from Milan. So Milan is quite my city from all my life. But I left Milan for 2 years, some years ago, for living in Amsterdam. So I have lived in Amsterdam for 2 years. And then I came back here to set up my own studio. But before, just I studied, if you're interested, of course, I think, I studied interior design, but now I used to do only product design. It's quite, just I changed my mind during my path. And that's because when I...
It's always good to change your mind, so.
Yes.
It's not...
every day, every time. I discovered that I prefer to handle product design during my path, because when I start working in this field, I discovered that I was more interested in details, and then not only in interior design, because maybe much for me. I would like to stay on the details on a product that I can see every part of that, and then I can focus more on that. So that's why I changed my mind. But I used to be a scatterbrain person, so maybe in the future I can change my mind again.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's not a limit. I mean, of course.
Yeah, but in the studio now we used to handle most of things like product design, but also color consultancy and art direction. So not only one thing. I used to change everything, because I don't want to be so bored in my work. And yeah,
there was a moment in time when you felt bored about your work. Did it happen?
Yes.
Okay, you can say yes. I mean, it's normal. Not everything gets the perfect way, the first time. So
I mean, our work is not only a creative work, but for the most of the time, our work is a technical work. So when you have to change, for example, the drawing for 10 times or 100 times, maybe you feel sad, like a bit weak because you have to change everything because of the industry, because of the production. And I love to work with a mass production, but it's not so easy. So sometimes the effort for arrive to a very mass production product is not so funny. So you have to try.
And there are so many stages. There are so many steps that you have to get there. I mean, mass production implies so many,
So sometimes it's funny in the first part of the work, and sometimes it's not sad, but it's not so so easy. So sometimes you have to put a lot of effort, and probably one project that you thought maybe 3 years ago, you are starting now to producing it after 3 years. So you used to see
a long
product for 3 years before coming on the market. So
and then sometimes in 3 years. And then sometimes in 3 years, as you said, you change your mind more than once. So Okay. So Sara Ricciardi, I know that you come from the countryside, which I love so much, some sort of countryside. This is Benevento, which is a very peculiar area. Let's not say south, let's say south central Italy. But you were born in close contact with nature and animals. So Federica from Milan, and you from
the country.
Can you tell us something? Is the country? Can you tell us something about, of course, how did you start this work? First of all, introduce yourself, but I really would like to know what that meant for you.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm really happy to be with all of you, with the two super colleagues and Cristina, and everyone. Is going to be a great crew for this project. And for me, actually, the word design in my hometown didn't exist, and it was such a sadly appeared in my life, because I do believe that in some moments we have to be opened to receive what word is saying to us. And so actually I was on humanistic and philosophical studies, and I was living very in close contact with nature, because I was living on the top of a mountain in Benevento. That is an area when people think about south of Italy, everyone is thinking about sea and very loud, but actually Benevento is very low frequencies, and the consistency of air is very deep, and I was there, and for many years I was very in contact with and peacocks and chickens and and birds. They were actually my friends in games, no? So all my dogs, for example, they were always very close friends, like trees as well. So actually these friends always suggested me something that is connected with holy and with universe tensions. That is
some sort of other level. Yes.
And this is actually something that is always whispering in my ear all the time that I start to draw, because in my opinion, what is important is that every designer for me was the countryside, for everyone was whatever. The point is how your identity can actually infect your design and your shape. So this for me is very interesting, and so everyone has obsession, and for me this relationship with the high level is an obsession that I do bring in my design. Actually, I arrived in Milan because
one second, I interrupt you. And you also went to Orsoline school, no? That was a religious school. No. So because design, when it's really about bringing your soul. Beside what Federica just said, mass production and all these things, of course, implied a series of steps that need to be, that they are requested in order to get to the goal, in order to get a prototype that could be but it's very important, and I do believe that also in a mass production piece, you can bring your soul and your attitude, your personality. So I was very impressed about your Orsoline story. Do you want to tell our audience about it?
Sure, but for example, you can say also in Federica and Federico's design, they for sure bring their own, everyone bringing their own, path inside, and they drop it in their design. And so we have to put awareness on it. The point for me was when my mother is always excusing herself because she gave me to the nuns for 8 years, and but for me, because actually you could stay at nuns school for all day long, also the night. They were taking care of you, and because they were working, but for me was absolutely super powerful. Something that for them was, oh my God, my child has to go far away from us for 5 days per week, or for me was absolutely incredible, because I was living in a kind of surreal atmosphere, like they had this architecture, because architecture is teaching us a lot. You were entering this architecture, and if you were talking, there was echo everywhere, because it was a marble.
Yeah, of course, architecture is pretty much present in holy places, so it's of course affects the mood, and then
it affected you a lot. So space was affecting me, and all the stories that the nuns were telling me all the time, because of crazy stories about saints and religions, and so I was impressed, and these folkloristic and this holy vision are accompanying me, even if I'm not very connected with my own religions. I do love, for example, when I travel, the first thing I do, wherever I go for working, I walk myself to the holy places, Shintoist.
You are interested in that, okay? Like as a first thing, okay. So now I have to stop you, Sara.
Thank you.
Thanks for stopping me, Federico. First of all, can I say that we are very, happy to have you here, Federico Peri. Also, you are in a very crucial moment of your life. We wish you all the best. Federico is almost becoming father, and Federico, tell us about you, about your past, your background, and your take on design.
Yeah, with pleasure. First of all, hi to everybody, and hi to Cristina. Thanks for having me. And it's right. Within 20 days, I will be father. So we are
very important project.
Yeah, it's the most important one for the moment,
I would say.
I'm from a small town close to Treviso, that is close to Venice, so in the northeast part of Italy. And in that place is quite famous for shoes, for sports shoes. In fact, there are many companies, also Nike and Adidas, Reebok, that have the office there to develop the design. So design is a sort of part of my life, the word design. But my first year of university, I did my choice was to do economy and marketing. But then after 4 months, I realized that was not my way, so I just quit the university. And then I moved. I just had 6 months to wait before the start of the new year of the university. So I moved to work to the factory of my grandfather, that has a factory of metal shelving. and I became a metal worker from the morning to the night to working with metal.
So you experience on the field,
Yeah.
no? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
That's why metal is really important in my work. And then I moved to Florence for 1 year of industrial design, and then I moved the last year to Milan to do my real course of university that was for interior design, and that I finished the university in 2007. So from that point, I won a scholarship that I moved to Paris, and then they have the opportunity to meet a lot of people, a lot of a kind of international moment for me, because I was in contact with photographer, with painter, with all the kind of artists that you can imagine. Was really an important moment for me that year, and then helped me to think in a different way compared to what I understood during my university career. And what's really interesting to focus me in the job, in the kind of work of design, to really understand what could be the future of my life in a kind of working way. And but then I moved to Milan, and I started to work in a design studio. That I know that you, Cristina, also know the owner of the studio. That was Fieri Severino partner.
Yeah, and you've been working there for a while, couple of years.
Yeah, it was 2 or 3 years. But then had a really good relation with them. And so
they're very talented. Yes.
Yeah, and they were really kind with me, because they helped me to open my own studio and to start to work on some kind of interior project that was managed by them in the beginning, and then I take my own project. So in the beginning was really important the help of my previous studio. And then
this is also very nice, no? This is also very nice what happened to you, no, Federico, that the studio where you were practicing, I mean, then help you to start up your own. Well, I know only Tiziano Budafieri. He's very generous, so I'm not surprised about what you say.
Yeah, I used to say this because it's quite uncommon, no? So
yes,
it's
absolutely.
a really good thing.
Yes.
And
for sure, you deserve it. So that's
okay. And then in 2014, as when you work in interior design, I mean, I love to design every kind of element. I mean, even the handle, not just to take the piece from the market and then to put together and just to have a sort of a nice feeling or the right feeling of the interior. I love to design every kind of detail. So that's why during the years, I've been more close to the industrial design instead of interior. I mean, I'm doing as well interior and industrial design, but I think that in this moment I'm really more close to industrial, because let me express more. And I'll say, Federica, in the beginning, you have more chance to express yourself. You can control every kind of detail in a better way, and you can, in some way, you can be represented by the final element that you made together with the gallery or the brand. I mean, it depends on which kind of way you design. But
this is a very interesting subject. This thing of focusing more on mass production or a limited edition. It's some designers, they feel more comfortable with the first one, some other with the second one. We can talk about it. I don't want to interrupt you, Federico. Did you finish about your presentation?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to ask Federica about it. So you feel more comfortable in the mass production. Why?
I mean, I felt so comfortable till this year, probably, in a mass production. I don't know, because when I start to being a designer, my dream was to design something for people. okay, in my opinion, if you are a designer, but when I was children, I thought if you're designing something, you have to design something that, I mean, come on, not change the word, but that something that people can use, can touch. So sometimes I felt so weak to design something only for rich people. So in my opinion, it's better to try to design something for the industry, just because I want to design something like all the world, but I know that it's not so easy. So sometimes it's like a war inside me, because if I want to express myself, I can't in a 30 I don't know, like in a very good way for industrial project, because you have to think about marketing, you have to think about sell the product, you have to think about a lot of details and a lot of other things. So it's not so easy to put yourself in an industrial project every time, every day, and then when the people will see the product, they can see, oh my God, it's not so beautiful, it's not so, these details is not so thought or something like that, but it's a process. So the result is not every time the result of your mind, but it's a result of your mind and the marketing chief and the company and the market in the general. So it's not easy. But when you can put your product in a mass production, and your product, it's like your initial thought, it's quite amazing. So it's very, very, very interesting. So
well, then then you touch a very then you touch a very sensitive point, a very sensitive subject. You said designing for rich people.
Yeah, but
maybe we should ask Ernesta Del Cogliano, the super active lady by Cinque Vie, to dedicate another talk about this subject, because we could actually talk a long time about it. Sara, so designing for rich people, one piece off or what? Well, it's sorry, you got a very difficult question, but
no, it's super interesting, this topic, because actually, like, for me, I come from product design. I come from first at the real beginning, I was in self-production. Then I went to industries, and I understood that I didn't want to deal with mass production, that I was much more interested in creating object with actually that were linking to luxury, because luxury for me is a very important word, because it's something that actually belongs to everyone. And it's a matter of time, quality, and achievement of something that is not a fast-eating products market. So luxury, it's for me, it's a word that we have really to take care of, because it's very powerful for everyone, and
also uncomfortable,
but because the society made it like that. Because words, we need to very understand, to dive into words, to understand better, like to cut out what the system wants that you believe luxury is, because marketing is saying that luxury is that and that, and what actually you really understand that luxury belongs to, that it's something very different. And for example, I had the opposite path. So self-production, industries with an amazing industrial center in Italy that I do love, because I work a lot with artisans and company. But then I moved into specific objects for galleries and brands. And then now I'm moving a lot into installations and spaces, because I do feel that I want to change how people feel themselves in the space. That for me, so it's interesting, because for me it's a completely the opposite thing.
The opposite way, yes.
Yeah, totally. And because I love to to change the perception of your body. No, in Italy we have this word, we say prosemic, the art of how can we deal with our body, because we are changing, we are constantly in transformation. So how space change with us, and how actually my relationship with object and space can change. So for me, it's very interesting, that part now. And actually, rich people, what does it mean? It's an interesting word, because sometimes who invest, it's someone that is very interesting to deal with. Everyone has his own richness. Technology is very democratic, and I do love it. That's why now we are with Hong Kong Toki, because we have this device. But at the same time, there is a great balance.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
I don't know. It's just we need to live in a constantly researching a balance between all the values, because there is not a good version in one way or the other way. So the point is how to create a bridge that actually connects very well what the rich part has, what the disease, what the poor part has, and how to actually recombine it in order to figure out a world in which you want to live.
Thank you, Sara. Thank you. So Federico, what about this bridge? What about this bridge?
I think that I'm really in the middle of these two fields, because I used to work both in limited edition with design galleries and with serial production with companies. And in my point of view, there is not so much different. I mean, in my kind of work, I mean, it's really interesting what Sara said, and I agree with her with the kind of what people think about luxury, that is not the real way that we have to consider luxury. But I think that is, in my point of view, it's really interesting to work, to deal with both galleries, so limited edition, and to the real serial production, because you can learn from each field, and then to bring what you learn from, for example, limited edition, to bring into the serial production, and as well to use some kind of tips and technique that you learn from serial production to bring into limited edition.
And you experience the same freedom in both of them?
No, there is not the same freedom, because at the end, with serial production, you have to consider the final cost of the products, because it has to be right for the market, so it has to respond to some kind of target price that then could be also suitable for a company to sell. While with gallery is not the main focus. With gallery, I can say that they share the same focus, that is to emotion, probably, the people, to communicate something, and that's the most important thing nowadays.
You mean some sort of different language, no? I did not language, yeah. But different level. Okay. Yeah, no, this is very interesting.
With limited edition, you can force a little bit the emotional part of the object, because it is not made for a kind of target. It's quite could be also unique, so you can really work with different kind of material, and then to put together, and to experiment a little bit more compared to the serial production. But then for me, it happens also that some of my clients are just in the middle. I mean, some kind of brand that I used to work with them are in the middle between galleries and design brands. I mean, for example, I say Baxter. They are really focused in something that I can say it's not luxury design, but it is some of really well made and higher level. And they act as design companies, but they have the attention, and they take the risk of a design galleries. So that's really the middle, from my point of view, the middle between the two reality. While it's also nice to work with galleries because you can a little bit experiment some kind of also finishing, some kind of different material that you never use with the companies because of the price, obviously. And then put a little bit of this kind of special element of the limited edition into the serial production. I think it's really a good balance to work with, to deal with both sides.
I see, absolutely. I mean, you can differentiate your work and experience different goals. No, it's not everybody can do that. There are some people that are maybe more comfortable in one field, and I mean, a limited edition, it's a great platform for experimentation. So it's I mean, each of them has the positive, of course, positive side. And Federica, we have our audience. I mean, we have a lot of students in Hong Kong. So I would like, and you teach yourself, no? You yeah, of course. I pretend not to know, but of course I know that you teach. Do you want to tell our audience how would be a dream school, or how would be how would you experience the best learning moment?
I mean, I think the dream school would be a school that used to work in the field, in the real field, because sometimes it's not so nice to work every time behind the laptop, so or on program or CAD or whatever. I used to bring my student in the real place or in a real company to teach them how is the work in the real way. So you have to think about a lot of things. You have to know a lot of things out of the laptop, out of the computer, out of the work. So and also a very important part that I used to teach to my student is the research. So the first part of the work, how to do a very good research. Just go out, just try to take books from library and not only Pinterest, because in this way all the project, since you are a student, will be totally the same from Milan to Hong Kong, for example. So we have to change, we have to understand how to make a very good research. So learning from past book, learning from everything, art, film, movie, and whatever. So I do. I used to be a person very interested in lot of other fields in art field, but I used to teach to my students this kind of stuff. Just don't stop in your field. Try to understand and try to feel yourself about everything around you. So if you are on the street, just try to understand. Just photograph everything. I used to photograph everything.
Yes.
Yeah. Just this is the main thing. And the second thing that I used to teach to my student is passion, because this is a very difficult work. Also, because
can you teach passion? Can you teach passion?
You can teach passion. I mean, I think yes.
Okay.
If you have passion for your works, you can transmit this kind of passion to your student. But during the first lesson,
very good answer, I have to say. Very good answer to a very bad question. Brava.
Yes.
Brava.
And the first lesson, every year, because I have the student from the first product design here, so they are super young and they are super a blank mind. So you can teach quite everything, and you have to think about what you have to say to them. So every time I used to say, come on guys, this is a very hard work. So if you are not convinced, don't go ahead in this kind of field, because you are not going to be rich for sure, or maybe yes, but after years and years and years, and then you have to think about what you want to do in your life. If you have passion, you can understand you can learn everything you want, but you want in this kind of field. If you don't have passion for this work, just leave it. So I'm quite strict.
How did you recognize your passion? How did you, when you realized that you wanted to do this, that you wanted to be a designer?
I don't know. Every time I used to think that probably I couldn't do anything different from creative kind of things, because I was very bad in science or math or every kind of other thing. So probably when I was super young, like 12 years old, I used to say, okay, I want to be an artist. I don't know what kind of artist, but I mean, I would be an artist. So my parents were convinced that for sure I will not do anything like normal work. So that's why. But I don't know when I understood it, I became.
Yeah. What is a normal work for you?
Don't know. A normal work is a work when you have to wake up and write hour at a time, and you cannot decide to go away one day or whatever. I mean, for me, one of the important part of this work is the freedom. So
Yes.
I mean, I used to work every day from my studio, of course, but I need to feel the freedom. So if someday I want to go in a park, I want to go to listen to music or just read a book, I can do it.
You just do it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So the freedom, it's one of the main reasons that I do this work.
I understand. Good. Sara, you're teaching at the Nuova Accademia, no? Nuova Accademia delle Belle Arti. How do you start your lesson? What's one of the first thing to approach your students? Thank you, Federica.
I have to say that I don't teach product design. I teach social and relational design. So it's very different. The second year, people need to understand how to make projects not by themselves, but with a community of people. So it's how you make projects together. So listening the others, because we're not very used to listen deeply the others. And so community, what does it mean a community? Family is a community. Your neighborhood is a community. Blind people are a community. What does it matter? Maybe they share a place. Maybe they share some values, some affinities. So the point is, they need to listen very well. So I do love psychogeography. Guided board is a theoretical guide that gave some exercises to let people lose themselves in a room, in a street, in the city. And this is the first exercise I do all the time with my students. It's called
people lose themselves, you said. Yeah.
How to lose yourself.
Yes.
That for my students is absolutely, what does it mean?
Yeah, which that can be also connected to the 5V installation, no? To your super purple balloon installation, when you I mean, the whole story is about not being connected, and there are some people that now, if they are not connected, they feel lost.
They feel totally lost, and that's also another kind of looseness feeling, because it's a deeper one. So is another step on the level. So the first level is how to lose yourself with your body, so to perceive completely different things in the space and when you walk, le flaneur, like how to become a person that really watch, and you have to stay without a telephone, just with a paper and a pen, and to receive and to really listen space and people. So we start with that, and then we create we generate projects that are projects to renovate or spaces or objects or services, because there is also service design. It depends by the topic, the brief. And then we arrive at the end. The main goal is not, the output is not the object or the space, is, and this is very beautiful, is how many people do you connect together with that. So the result is how many people enjoy what you made. And this is very real, because it's very tangible. Like, you can feel, you can see if people react well or not. Kids are very beautiful. They are our first judges. And and so in that, I teach this kind of, so in my installation also arrive this part. So I do always want to be in contact with people, but with reflections, with to let them understand also their dichotomies. We always talk about something, but then we act in another way. So how we vote, how we create our own thinking mind. So this point for me are really interesting, like social position.
Why people doesn't listen? Why it is so difficult to listen, according to your opinion?
Many points. So we see that listening part is very very hurting. No, it's much better to don't listen the others, because it's much more easier. And in the family happen that we don't talk deeply. In the education happen, because many times we have a frontal way of teaching. So listening, it's giving out your own fragilities, sorry, your own fragilities. And how many people are ready to give this, the belly on the top of the table, like to give these
emotions,
these emotions. And we are not, our system doesn't educate people to do it, because it's very powerful, and it doesn't follow marketing rules. And you can be very, very outside the perimeters in which people wants to put you, because it's easier just to govern you. That just because we need to create rules for ourselves.
Who's the person you have listened more in your life? A teacher, a relative, a friend? Very quickly, then I go to Federico.
Sure. I have masters. I have teachers all the time, every day. My nephew is my brother, my parents, my friends, the guy that is selling fruits in my neighborhood. All the time you switch position. You are student all the time, and you are teacher all the time, no matter which knowledge you have, and no matter which age you are. This is the much incredible point. The only thing, the woman that is walking in this street, she's 90 years old, and she's very elegant, very old, and she teach me every morning elegance. She doesn't know, but
elegance doesn't go with the age, so I understand that she can be totally elegant, also being very old.
Yeah, and she's my master, because she gives me the feeling that every day she takes care, and she wants to show the beauty, no matter, So the point is, all the time you are in this teaching position, and if you don't learn every day, something is wrong. Something is going wrong in your...
That's correct. Thank you. So Federico, of course, I know that you are not teaching.
No.
So I would like to know from you if you can tell
I'm not teaching. I did some experience.
Sorry, because the connection is not so good now. I would like to know from you if you can tell our audience about an anecdote, like an episode that happened to you, like while you were at school, if there is some striking moment that you can tell us.
During the period of the
yes,
university,
of
you
course.
mean? Okay. But well, what I can say is that in the beginning you were asking why you choose to Federica, why she chose to study design instead of other. And in that moment I was thinking what was my moment when I decided to study design, and was not, I think the way was because I made my first wrong decision because maybe I was wrong suggested to I don't know, to what's around me probably. And well, in the beginning I told you that I chose it economy and marketing. And then, I mean, it's really helpful also in the design to know something about economy and marketing. In fact, I think that should be part of the study, that kind of element, because it's really important then to deal with the market. But I think that I really realized when to start to study design when I was folding metal when I did my work of a craftsman as a metal worker, and then I really realized that that couldn't be my future, to work directly with my hand every day, to work that kind of thing, but to invent something, to invent why I was folding the metal, why I was putting together different material.
Yeah, the previous process.
Yeah,
The step before.
and I think that could be the moment when I decided. It's really clear in my mind that it was a morning. It was really tired to do that kind of thing that was doing for was even 2 months that I was working metal folding and cutting, and then I was working on a special project. It was just a display for I remember it was a display for a shoes display, and then I love the way that they designed the kind of detail to put together and to block the shelf into the structure. And then was the moment that I realized that there was something behind the project. There was thinking how to put together the element. And it was a reading. I mean, you know that someone is studying the project before you see, for example, this in the market. Someone spent a lot of time, effort to develop.
Yeah.
But since that moment, I never really think about that process. I just think that this was made. I don't know how, some way, but know how the process
Yes,
has
Federico, I have
developed.
to tell you that
So
your connection is very bad. So I don't know if it's only me but I really get some of the words that you. No, I'm sorry for our audience. Please
okay.
please
Sorry.
finish. But I just wanted to tell you this.
Okay, so, can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay. No, so that was just to say that that was the moment that I realized that I was really interested in the process to make the thing,
Okay.
to let the thing be produced. Then not just the final element, but the way when you start to think about a project and then to develop and then to see the final result.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Federica, very, very, very quickly, if not a designer, what you wanted to be when you were a child? Just one question, one answer.
An ice creamer. I didn't how to say, the people that used to sell ice cream.
That's fantastic.
That was my dream. I'm so sorry.
Because you are. I mean, because you love ice cream, or there was something about creativity in making the ice cream.
Actually, I can try to be the story, but the truth is that when I was children, I used to say every time I was to sell ice cream. I don't know why.
No, it's fantastic. Well, I wanted to be a taxi driver, so I'm fine.
But
I always thought that taxi driver, they met a lot of people without not getting too close. That was great. Like a lot of stories.
I used to love cook, so I super love to cook now. So it's one of my best passion out of my work. So probably I used to love eating, and then now I used to love cook. And then when I was children, probably I used to love also colors and food.
Oh,
and then
I mean, ice cream is very specific. Sara, what you would have done if not becoming a designer?
Let's say that I would love to open a bookshop. I would love to be behind the
This is because you are so much into literature, no? You love words and narrative.
I love it. Like, when I was a kid, I was going into my favorite bookshop and I was asking, can you please tell me what I have to read? And he was giving me stories and stories. And so for me, bookshop would be my best thing, you know, in order to talk with people and to sell stories and to create stories. So it's always about narratives. But one thing my father was always saying, that he has a job, like he stays in a cars field, and he always said to me, whatever you're gonna do, I don't care. The point is, I don't love my job. I don't care even about cars. I don't know what they are, but my daily life, then I'm going to do it with the best passion and the best enthusiasm I have.
Sure.
So the point is that no matter what you're gonna do, if you put your vitality, your life into it, it's gonna be great.
Great. And Federico, and you?
Yeah, my dream was to be like Michael Jordan. So my dream was also to be black and to play
That's very good.
the best basketball. Yeah, it was the two elements, black and like
Michael Jordan, one of the most, you didn't say just playing basket, but like one of the
to be the hero. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was my
Yeah.
dream.
Guys, I think we are running out of... Go ahead.
No, I remember that when I was really young, I asked my mother, "What I can't be black and to be like Michael Jordan." So it was pretty strong, my ideal.
Okay, but now I would like to know what she answered when you said, no, you cannot be. Okay.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Really, I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah, I think we are. Thank you so much. First of all, thing, it was very lively and lovely conversation. Why you're laughing,
Thank
Sara?
you.
You also wanted to do.
It's amazing.
Now the connection is not very good. So okay, so I talk now. Okay, just like in Biden, Trump, the moderator was. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for telling our audience about design, but most of all about you, and which is very special. And thanks a lot. I want to thank again Isitituto di Cultura in Hong Kong and Stefano Fossati, especially Cinque Vie, because the thanking moment is never enough when people work. Thanks, Mr. Lawrence. You are in very good hands with Annalisa Rosso and Francesco Mainardi. Again, thanks, Cinque Vie, a little bit of a self-promotion moment. Thanks for making this incredible project by Ereth Nevipana, Tropical Milan. Thanks for believing in it, even if super catastrophic. And goodbye to everybody. Till next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. It
Ciao, bye.
was a pleasure.